everyone, to Happier Holidays, the Journey series that is designed to put a little more joy in your holidays. I'm Kelly Robert, Journey Program Manager here at UBT. And, you know, if I remember my manners on each of these segments, I thank two people. I thank Caitlin Moore, who helps with all the Zoom, everything IT, or what we call IT, um, to make sure that we record this and bring it to you. And I also thank Nikki Davison, who's my colleague and also my colleague in the marketing department, like Caitlin is. And Nikki helps connect the dots on these series, on other things that I work on, and many other things in our department. And Nikki is going to tell you today. I wanted you to be able to meet her. So she's going to tell you about our presenters, and we have some fantastic ones. So, Nikki, I'm going to give you the floor.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Like Kelly said, I'm Nikki Davison, and I also help out in the marketing department along with Kelly and Caitlin. So it's been fun to be a part of the Journey series and see the direction that it's taken. So I want to welcome everyone to the final segment of Happier Holidays, Safe Celebrating for Your Pets. We have some really awesome guests today, and I'm excited. I have two dogs of my own, so I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about how to keep them safe and also have a fun time with them during this holiday season. The first guest is our very own, one of our vets that we have, and she is my cousin. So she is an awesome vet, and we are so grateful that she agreed to speak with us today. Her name is Brianna. So without any further introduction, Brianna, if you want to say anything else about yourself, you certainly can, but let's hear it from Dr. Moline.
Hello. Hi, like Nikki said, my name is Dr. Brianna Moline. Let me get my PowerPoint up here. All right. And let me get that started. All right, so today's topic is going to be how to keep your pets safe during the holidays. So just a little bit about me. I've been a veterinarian for almost 4 years now. I went to the Nebraska Iowa State program. So for Nebraska students, they offer 2 years at UNL and then 2 years at Iowa State. And then you graduate with your doctorate of veterinary medicine. So upon graduation, I worked in York, Nebraska for about 3 years as a mixed animal practitioner. So that was small and large animal in the clinic and farm calls. And so then just recently, I've started working at Vondra Vet Clinic in Lincoln, and that is purely a small animal practice. So I actually work with my husband there. He is also a veterinarian. We met in vet school. And then, of course, I have to showcase my two adorable dogs here. I have a Bernese Mountain Dog and St. Bernard. So that is them being all festive and ready for the holidays. So let's talk about how do we keep those important pets safe during these, what should be really fun celebrations. So kind of the topics that we're going to discuss today are the different toxic or just dangerous foods and plants to both our dogs and cats that we can see, especially around the holidays, but this is important, you know, all year round. There are certain things that can be really dangerous. We're going to talk about pet anxiety surrounding new visitors or just a busier home on the holidays, as well as things to consider when we're introducing new decorations, new visitors to your home. We also are going to discuss different tips on how to make your animal most comfortable when you're traveling somewhere, if they're going to stay home in a boarding facility, or if you're going to have the guests into your home. And then lastly, we're going to discuss the importance of proper ID. So let's just jump right into the toxic and dangerous foods. So here is a list of some of the foods that dogs and cats can have, and then foods that they can't. Certainly these are kind of the main ones, especially holiday related, that come to mind. I'm sure there are others that are not on here. So if there is ever anything you're not sure of that your animal eats, the best thing is always to call your veterinarian, or can certainly look online for that information. Looking under first are foods that dogs can have. So that's things like corn, not on the cob, celery, carrots, cooked sweet potatoes, green beans, apples with no core or seeds, pumpkin, so that's more like canned pumpkin, not pumpkin pie, rice, cheese, and then turkey or beef with no fat or bones. So even on this list of food that dogs and cats can have, probably more of our dogs than our cats, but I always say all of these need to be in moderation. We're talking about tastes here. Small amount of each of these things go a long way. Pets just know they're getting something different and special. They don't know that they're getting, a giant slab of turkey or a giant slab of beef. If you give them just a small little taste, that goes a really long way for them. I always tell my clients, I am a veterinarian, but I am also a pet owner. So, to say that I don't give my dogs taste off of what I'm eating would be a lie. I do that, but really small amounts. And also thinking about this, doing it more than just the holidays, is to think about the calories that are associated with this. Often our pets that I see that are a little overweight or heavier, these table scraps are a big place of where that comes in. Again, I have two very large dogs. The St. Bernard is 150 pounds. And when he gets a taste off my plate, it's just about this big. So it's a very small amount. So think about if you have a Yorkie or a miniature poodle or something very small, even if it's a taste this big, that's quite a bit of calories for a really small dog. All on that list of can have, always think about moderation. Small taste, not too much. We don't want to upset their stomach. We want to just keep it fun and not cause any tummy upset, because dogs eat kind of a single diet of their dog food, their dry dog food, a lot of table scraps or different things can cause stomach problems. Just always think about those things in moderation. Now, really importantly is our list of things that dogs can't have. So those include chocolate. Your biggest concern is dark chocolate. White chocolate and milk chocolate are less of a concern. They can cause some stomach problems, but the dark chocolate has a lot of caffeine in it, which can be bad for our pets' hearts. They can have some heart issues if they have too much dark chocolate. Garlic and onions, those can cause some anemia or low red blood cell issues. Grapes and raisins can affect the animal's kidney function. Of course, alcohol, not a good idea. Macadamia nuts. Corn cobs, we worry about those because they are not easily digestible. Often the animals will swallow the whole cob and the stomach doesn't do a good job of breaking it down. So then that runs us the risk of what we call a foreign body, or that cob getting stuck in the animal's stomach or intestine. And then we have a surgical issue, meaning we have to go in, remove that cob from the stomach or the intestine, wherever it got stuck, because the animal is not able to pass food down their intestinal tract. So signs of that would be, very, very consistent vomiting, can't hold any food or water down. So certainly corn cobs, not a good idea. The fatty and greasy foods, this is actually a really, really important one. So on our safe list, we have turkey and beef or meat, which is okay, but we really want to avoid the fatty parts of those meats because it can cause a really serious thing called pancreatitis. So when our animals eat a really fatty meal or get into the trash and eat the bacon grease, this can make a pancreas, or the organ that sits on your intestines, really, really inflamed. It's very painful. We see vomiting, stomach issues, and it can actually be a very life-threatening thing. Bacon grease, fat, never a good idea, and is really quite a serious thing if our animals eat this. Now, on our list of things that our animals can't have, amount does matter for some of these. So, if your dog ate one tiny little chocolate chip, not going to be a problem. But if we eat a really, really large amount, may have issues. Same kind of thing with the garlic, the onions. If there's just some garlic powder in there, or just a tiny small amount of chopped onion, probably going to be okay. Amount matters, the size of your animal matters. And these are all things, again, if your dog does ingest these, to call your veterinarian. But of course, avoidance is always absolutely the best. Now, a big thing that you need to really watch out for the holidays are kids. So this is my adorable niece, Blair, and she's currently working on some cupcake, I think, in that, or pancake in that picture. And my dog Rory is patiently waiting and hoping that she will drop a piece. So especially our kids, that is a big source of where dogs get table scraps. Either it's fun to feed the dog, or the dog can sneak a bite from their plate when the kid isn't looking, or the kid drops it onto the floor. So certainly if your child or someone's visiting child is eating grapes or raisins or any of those things on our list, really we need to know where the pets are at, and just be cautious of that we don't have an accidental intoxication. So again, if your animal does ingest those toxic foods, the best thing is to call your vet, because they can help give you an idea of how much the animal ate, what is the best course of action, and that sort of thing. And it's really important to call pretty quickly after this happens, because some of the things that animals may eat that they shouldn't, we may actually instruct you to induce vomiting in your animal. So I know that is not a fun thing at all, but if we catch what they ate within about the first 4 hours, that's the amount of time before the body starts to really absorb those things, break it down. Past the 4 to 6 hours, vomiting doesn't always do a lot of help because they've digested that food so much. So it really is important. The quicker we can get on top of it, the more likely that vomiting is going to be helpful. So at home, again, not fun, but hydrogen peroxide can make our patients vomit. So it's about 1 milliliter per 10 pounds, or until you see the effect. The bubbles of the hydrogen peroxide upset the stomach to make the animal vomit, and hopefully to get up any of that food or whatever it is that they ate out of their system. That's generally the safest for foods that they shouldn't eat, and so that will help. If you don't like doing the hydrogen peroxide thing or don't feel comfortable, veterinarians, we do generally have an injection or a drop that we can give to the animal that makes them vomit. But to save you an exam fee at the veterinarian, or if this is something that happens after office hours, that hydrogen peroxide is something that you can use. And like I said, I know it's not fun, but I always say it's, think of it that you're saving potentially your pet's life, or further complications down the road. So, but of course, avoidance always the best policy. If your veterinarian is closed after hours or something like that, there is such thing as a pet poison helpline. So just like the human poison line, you call them, tell them what size of animal, what they ate, and they can instruct you as to, do you need to get to an emergency veterinarian, the vomiting, or what have you. So I do believe that helpline does cost, but again, could save you a lot more money to be ahead of it. It's always better than calling your vet and saying, oh, my pet ate this 3 days ago and is now really sick. Timing is very, very important. The first couple hours is what we want to know there. So, so on that kind of toxic food discussion, we are also going to talk about some toxic plants. So there are several plants that are toxic to animals, but these are kind of our more holiday plants that you may see. So poinsettias are not a safe pet or safe plant to have around our animals. Generally, it causes mostly stomach upset, but it can be more toxic to other animals. Holly and mistletoe is another one that is quite dangerous if it's up out of the way, not an issue for dogs, but always think about, especially cats. Often in cats, there isn't really a place that is safe. And especially talking about our lilies and our daffodils, lilies are very, very toxic to cats. Even the dust off of the plant, if they just merely rub against the plant, we can actually see that be a very fast toxic issue. So again, avoidance is always the best policy. What I always say is, if you get a new plant, if someone gives you one, if you want to buy one, always Google first, because that is much better to be ahead of it and know if it's something that's safe with your animals, or maybe it's a plant we need to pass on, or maybe it needs to be, in a separate room that the door is always closed, that the animal would not get into. And so really important with our plants that we just know if it's safe for our animals. And again, especially with cats, but also with dogs, any indoor plants or new plants that smell it, they do always have an increased chance of chewing on them, licking on them. So we can get stomach issues that way. Just something to think about if you notice your animal having stomach problems. But those certainly we can treat. It's the toxicities that are something we really want to avoid. So going away from kind of our toxic plants and food, we're now going to talk about anxiety. So anxiety can be something that our animals struggle with year-round, but we can also see animals that are generally very social, love family, start to have some anxiety during the holidays. If they're used to a relatively quiet household or not used to children or those sort of things, you can see this anxiety or things that you have never seen before. And so really want to be sensitive to that. When you have family members visiting or other people, there's new sights. There might be, a big, large man with a beard that could be scary. It might be children. Not all children have animals at home, so they may not know the safe way to pet a dog or a cat. They might grab, they might pull. Different smells can be sensitive to animals. Obviously, their sense of smell is much better than ours. So, strong perfumes or colognes could be sensitive to them. And then especially the sounds. Again, if, they're only used to a household with, a couple, no children, or an older couple, things like that. Having a lot of family members with a lot of music or sounds can be overwhelming. And so really pay attention to what signs your animal is showing you. Often they will give us body language that says, I'm uncomfortable. So some of those signs can be a stiff body. If normally they're laying and relaxed, but they're sitting there very tense, their tail isn't wagging, but it's up and it's very tense, that is a sign that they're uncomfortable. Especially, if someone's coming to pet them or see them and they kind of freeze and stare at them, we kind of call it the whale eye. Chihuahuas are great at that. It's kind of a big open, wide eye staring at you. Tail tuck, of course, and then ears back. So those are just some of our signs from our patients that we're not comfortable. Certainly cats often they will just run and hide, but dogs, even if normally they love social and attention, being really visible or really picking up on that body language that they're trying to show us is an important thing, and not holding them there so that the kids can pet them. If they aren't comfortable, that's when bad things can happen, when really good dogs can get nervous and we can see bad things. So always, be cautious of that body language and what they're trying to tell us. So there are several options to help relieve some of this anxiety. So if you're having a lot of company over, an important thing would be having a kind of a designated safe room away from visitors. I know one of my dogs, my Bernese Mountain Dog, she does love people. She loves attention. But I see when all my family comes over and the kids, she often goes to our bedroom and lays on the bed. She just likes, after a while, it's a lot of commotion. She just likes that separate space. And that's okay. Let them do that. Let them take that space. Sometimes having music playing in that room, or TV on, something that's a little bit distracting from maybe all the loud commotion, can be good. Lights off, they might like that if there's a lot of bright Christmas lights or things going on. Just having that safe space where they can really be comfortable. A thunder jacket is another option. So this adorable beagle on my PowerPoint is wearing one, modeling for us. So the thunder jacket, the option is, or the thought is, it's kind of like swaddling a baby. It's very comforting. Them wearing this kind of tight, snug jacket can just make them feel more comfortable, more safe. So that's something that you can have them wear. Of course, it got the name from thunder jacket from storms. It's something people will use as well. The other possibility or option is pheromones. So we have some happy dog and cat pheromones that you can use. So those can either be in a diffuser that diffuse through a certain room if it's stressful. For our dogs, we have some collars that they can wear. Just some things to help kind of sort of take the edge off. And then kind of on the highest level of anxiety, we do have actual anti-anxiety medications. So that can kind of range from an anti-anxiety chew, it's got some kind of calming supplements, help take that edge off, to a true anti-anxiety Prozac type medication. And that can be a medication that, the animal's not on all the time, but we know, if holidays are stressful, it might be something that we need to give when there's a lot of family here, to prevent that anxiety. And so I always say, discuss with your veterinarian kind of what you see at home, what you're going to expect for the holidays, and they're going to help you navigate which of those options are best for you. Because if your dog is really, really, really anxious, a thunder jacket is probably not going to be enough. If your dog's just maybe gets a little bit overwhelmed, that might be the perfect amount. So really discuss with your veterinarian kind of what you're seeing and what your concerns are. So kind of along that is introducing new decorations or visitors. Animals are very sensitive to change, cats especially. They can really show you if they're not pleased with a lot of change or commotion or things like that. So just being sensitive to that. And that can even include decorations. So that Christmas tree you're so excited to put up, all those lights, that might be overwhelming to your patients. So maybe not putting that right by their dog bed or cat bed or litter box or something like that is important to think about how that might affect them. So especially if they have kind of a safe space, again, a kennel, a litter box, a dog bed, try to avoid decorations in that specific area because that might make them feel a little bit uncomfortable. And slow introduction is always best for changes. So just think about kind of going slow with our animals if we are trying to add some changes. The big thing I also tell people to think about with visitors is foreign bodies. So looking at this x-ray here, can you tell what's going on there? So that's a picture of the stomach that's circled in red, and we have some really bright things that shouldn't be there. And that is actually a string of fairy lights. So our animals eat funny things sometimes, things that you think they never would. And it's not just dogs. Cats eat weird things as well. And so think about especially new things. So, maybe something you've had in your house for years, they've never touched, but if someone comes in with something new, smells different, maybe smells like their animal, that might be increased interest to them. And so really, telling your guests to not leave stray socks around, that could be something your animal could eat, or thinking about putting decorations not somewhere that your dog can reach and eat and have issues with that. So just think about how those changes can affect our animals. And so when it comes to the holidays, about what to do with our animals during that time. You may be having visitors come into your home, like a lot of things we discussed, or you may be traveling. And so really think about what would be best for your animal. So I know we always want our animals with us, but potentially if we are traveling, or even if we're welcoming animals or other humans into our home, sometimes taking those animals to a boarding facility is a better option. That might be something that is less stressful to them than having a bunch of children or family members coming into the house. So there are a lot of options for that. There are boarding facilities that offer daycare for them to play throughout the day. Boarding facilities where they're in kind of a kennel more by themselves than with a large group of dogs. Thinking about our animals that maybe are outside all year round, making sure that they are warm if we're traveling during Christmas time, that it's not going to be too cold. We have shelter, we have heat. And so think about what is best for your animal. If it's taking them with you, or if it is finding a place for them to stay or to have someone coming into your home. Cats especially, most of the time they're happiest in their own home, in their own environment, and not traveling, but that's not always the case. So just another thing to consider. And finally, kind of on that line is the importance of proper ID. So that may be if your animal is staying home, even if it's your home that they're very comfortable with, if there's increased visitors, traffic, people opening and closing the door, not really watching for the cat or the dog, or a kid holding the door open, there's always that increased risk that the dog or cat could slip out the front or back door. And that's something we, of course, want to avoid. But also if they're visiting in an unfamiliar area, especially if they get out, they may not know how to get back to you or be able to get home. So identification is really, really important during the holiday time. So these things can include like a collar and a tag that has your updated information, or a microchip. So that's a small little chip that your Veterinarian can plant between the shoulder blades that has a unique ID to your number that can be read at any veterinarian shelter, things like that. So just make sure that you have updated identification so that if your animal were to get out, we'd have a way to find them or contact them. So that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for your time and listening today. I hope some of these tips help keep your pet safe during this holiday season, and hope you all have a very happy holidays.
Thanks so much, Brianna. That was really helpful. I believe there are some questions in the chat box, but if you don't mind, we will wait and then ask them all at the end and answer them at the same time. We're going to get started with our next presenters, and we are very lucky to work with the gentleman behind Lucky Larry's, as their other job is at UBT. And I know my dogs both enjoy Lucky Larry's treats. They are kid safe. My toddler has tried them a few times as well. So they are good. But let's hear it from Dave and Jason.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Moline. That was all very good information. A lot of things I hadn't even thought of as a pet owner. And to piggyback on what you said about kids feeding the animals, we had an incident with M&Ms a couple years ago, which ended up in a very expensive vet bill around Christmas time for our little Chihuahua. And it was a harrowing situation. So you're getting me the day after we put together, sorry, this is going to be a little loud for a second, 65 of these holiday advent calendars. Each little box has a treat in it, a healthy treat, of course. So we are happy to have those done and can move on to Christmas now. We will have a slideshow as well too. I think, Jason, if you want to start that. Jason's my business partner and partner, and he was nice enough to put together this slideshow as I was stuck in the dining room putting together all the dog treat advent calendars, and they look really good hung above the hearth, by the way. So kudos to Jason for helping me out with the dog treat advent calendars and putting together the slideshow today. We got started in the dog treat business. You can go to the next slide. Pretty much kind of by accident, actually. We had adopted a Cane Corso about 3 years ago, and we took him everywhere. In fact, the minute we got back to Lincoln with Larry, we took him to the Zipline Beer Hall and sat there with friends and kind of passed him around the table. And he kind of became, we wanted to definitely get him out among people. You know, he's a bigger dog, so we wanted him really to be able to relate to people. So he just kind of became our mascot as we went around. We were buying two kinds of treats at that time. We had some milk bones that I think Jason picked up at the store. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then we were getting these other dog treats that were from a local company, and we were feeding those to Larry. And I said, you know, I can make these treats. So I got in the kitchen and started making dog treats, and I was looking on Pinterest for recipes, and I was going here and, you know, what's healthy for dogs? What should we have in here? And as I started doing more and more of this for Larry, Jason's oldest daughter, Charlie, said, you should sell these at the farmer's market, because we were going every Sunday anyway and walking Larry around and getting oohs and ahs from people as we walked around with this giant pod dog. So we started that snowball rolling down the hill then, and it's just picked up steam and kept going from there. The one thing we do with Lucky Larry's is, as we're creating dog treats or inventing recipes, and my mind is always inventing new recipes. In fact, this is one of them that, I don't know if you can see that very well. It's a chew stick, and I don't even know what I was doing at the time. I was just like, I should start combining two different recipes and twist them and dry them out, and so dogs have something chewier to spend their time on. As we were inventing these new recipes, we try to keep the health of the dog in mind in everything we create. Every item that comes out of our home kitchen in Southwest Lincoln has the health and happiness of your dog in mind as we create them. So we like our treats to kind of look like people food. I have some examples here that I can show you. We have peanut butter cookies, these little twists. Sorry, I'm gonna pop this out. We have bars and pretzels. We like to have fun with it, but we like to make sure everything's extremely on the up and up as far as health. So as you're buying dog treats from us, we want you to know that you're getting something that promotes the health of your dog. Of course, we both work at UBT full-time, and we run Lucky Larry's out of our home. In making these treats and selling them at the farmer's market, we want to make sure that what we're putting out there is good for your dogs. Going back to the store brand dog treats, that was one of the reasons I started making the treats, was because I looked at the label on the back of the dog treats and was a little shocked as I started looking and doing a little bit more Google searching on what those ingredients actually were. So some of the things in those kind of mass-produced store brand dog treats. Sorry, Jason, I skipped way ahead. We can back it up if you want to go back.
You're fine. Keep going.
Okay.
I'll
Sorry.
keep up.
You can see the label there. Some of that stuff I can't even pronounce. And right underneath our label there, the butylated I'm not even going to try to say it, BHA, in those store-bought bones has a potential correlation between cancer in dogs. It's a known carcinogen, and they're putting them in dog treats to preserve them, which when you're mass producing stuff, putting it out into stores, they have to have preservatives in them. That's the great thing about our dog treats and buying them locally. You're supporting a local business, but you're also buying treats with all natural ingredients without all these other things. Some of the other dog treat ingredients that I saw were BHT, which can cause liver, thyroid, and kidney problems, as well as lung damage. Ethoxyquin, which is a fat preservative that's also a pesticide and causes liver damage. Synthetic food dyes, which are actually put in the dog food and dog treats for humans because dogs don't even see in color. So it's really an unnecessary additive to anything that's given to dogs. Those synthetic food dyes can cause cancer, allergies, hyperactivity in some dogs. Propylene glycol is an oil that causes allergies in skin, liver, and kidney damage. And then a lot of the dog treats include corn and wheat gluten. It's a meat substitute, but it doesn't have the nutrients dogs need. And a lot of dogs are gluten intolerant. Another thing that is in a lot of treats is rendered fat. And there's really no regulation on rendered fat. A rendered fat can be really anything. If you've ever been by a rendering plant and smelled the rendering plant, a rendering plant can have diseased cattle, roadkill, tumored chicken, euthanized cats, and other dogs. Then if we look over at our ingredients, we try to keep everything all natural. So whole wheat flour, we use fruit purees, and we try to stick to the ingredients list like Dr. Moline had there. All the good stuff, banana, pumpkin, sweet potato, blueberry, apple, pear. Other ingredients we use are eggs, beef bone broth, chicken bone broth, peanut butter. The one thing we look for in purchasing peanut butter is that it can never have xylitol in it because that's a bad additive for dogs. And then oats and other natural ingredients. There's a lot of other stuff we put in there, but those are the main staples of what we put in our dog treats. Luckily, we've seen a cultural shift where people are moving toward more natural ingredients for their dogs. If you've seen the commercials for Farmer's Dog brand dog food, it's sweet potatoes and rice, meats, veggies like peas and rice, all very healthy stuff for dogs. And I know a lot of people who are actually making this in the crock pot for their dogs for the week and it's something that I've always wanted to kind of dabble in as well. And who knows, maybe down the road we'll move to that natural feed kind of industry as well. But as for right now, we between UBT and this, we're lucky to get the treats out every week, right, Jason?
That's correct.
And the dog advent calendars as well. So I don't know what's your next slide? Yeah. So we are a company that is locally supported by our amazing customers who show up every week at the farmers market. We're always so happy to see their dogs and their shiny, happy faces. And in addition to being supported by our wonderful customers and the community of Lincoln and our UBT family, we support local. We give back to local animal nonprofits, and we're on boards of nonprofits, and we like to give back to our community. We're also big on purchasing local. So as we're at the farmers market, we have a tendency to spend some of our profits at the farmers market on the other vendors that are there. We think it's important to shop local, especially right now, as you know, when we have supply chain issues and things like that. We want to support our local businesses as well. We're of course dog approved. As you can tell, the dogs love our treats. We love getting our treats out to dogs and letting them eat healthy foods, and we use the all natural ingredients there. Jason, do you want to interject anything right now?
No, I would just say on the support local, we also, for some of our treats, you get ingredients from local venues as well. So it's a great circle that we have formed with just focusing on our Lincoln community and leveraging them for both sales and support.
And in addition to supporting local as well, if there's ever a fundraiser, we really want to put this out into the universe as well. If there's ever any local fundraisers, we want to provide product for those fundraisers so that people can bid on that in an auction or purchase that through the fundraiser. We've had great success with that in making donations to those kinds of things. So I'm going to put that out there that if anyone ever needs a donation of any kind, we're happy to provide that. We've done that for the Humane Society and the CAC, Child Advocacy Center, and several other fundraisers. So we definitely would love it if folks reached out to us and asked for those donations. We're always happy to provide those as well. So moving on to, we talked about kind of our ingredients. Let's look at our products. I showed you the twists that we do and some of the other treats that we have. We also have dog beer, and I know Dr. Moline talked about do not give your dog alcohol. I always kind of cringe when we're at the farmer's market and people see the dog beer and they're like, well, my dog drinks regular beer. And I'm like, no, let's not do that. So our dog beer is, it's actually a low sodium bone broth mixed with molasses, sweet potato or pumpkin. We're going to add apple to it down the road. And then it's basil and sage. So it's a great drink for them to have. You can pour it in a glass that looks like real beer as you pour it out. You can put it on their dry dog food to punch the flavor up a little bit. And it's a hit with dogs. They love the taste of it, but what they don't know is that it's great for their skin, their coats, their stomachs, their their joints with the molasses in there. And like with anything, like Dr. Moline said, moderation. So we encourage folks, if they get one of the dog beers, give them a little bit at a time, pour a little bit for them, let them enjoy that, store it in the fridge, and it stores for about a week as well. In addition, last farmers market season in the fall, we introduced our grooming products.
Sorry.
Go back. That's okay. Go back to that. So we have a paw balm, which contains, it's a completely lickable paw balm. So we encourage folks to put it on their snouts, their elbows, their foot pads, any hot spots that the dog gets. We encourage folks to put it on that. Completely safe for them. It has shea butter, beeswax, olive oil, coconut oil, almond oil, vitamin E oil, and some essential oils in it. We had a customer who was buying it for herself for a while. She had chemo burns, so she was putting it on that, and we loved that because I was using it as chapstick for a while, and I actually thought I was a little bit crazy for doing that. But it's a great product. It's one of my favorite products that we make, and I have a lot of them. So we also have a shampoo, which is called Lucky Larry's Lavender Lather. So say that 10 times really fast. It's we keep the ingredients very simple in that it's among other things, it's cast iron soap, coconut oil, essential oils, and it smells amazing. And we have a stinky dog spray as well. So you can spray that right on your dog or spray it in your hand if they don't like to be sprayed with stuff. And it's got essential oils and witch hazel as its main ingredients as well. So we have a lot of fun just kind of inventing new products, making sure they're safe and great for dogs, and getting them out to our people in Lincoln. We don't do shipping, so it's really an exclusive to Lincoln and the surrounding area, our products. So we're quite proud of it. Do you want to interject anything, Jay?
No, you covered it.
Okay. If you need to contact us at all, we have our website, of course. You can purchase treats on there. And of course, as I mentioned, we don't do shipping. So you can pick up at our home, or we can deliver to you for a nominal fee. Our email address is there. Our phone numbers are there. And we're on Facebook and Instagram. So you just search Lucky Larry's Healthy Dog Treats and you can find us. Please send us a message if you have any questions. We're always happy to respond to those questions. And I think that's about it.
Yeah, just a quick thank you to Kelly and Nikki too for not being awesome co-workers and peers, but also supporting Lucky Larry's as well. So thank you for asking us to be a part of this and always thinking of us when the opportunity arises.
Yes, and I'll piggyback on that. The entire marketing team at UBT has been so incredibly supportive of Lucky Larry's, as well as the UBT in general has been very supportive. I think this morning, just at my building, I delivered 13 advent calendars to people. So that was incredible. So always very thankful for that.
We just really like you guys. And it's fun to get to do stuff with you and include you, because it's, for most of us, it's something different than we usually get to work on. After I field these couple of questions, I do want to tell you, our attendees and viewers, about UBT's Pet Club. And we often have opportunities with Lucky Larry's there. So we had great presenters today. I do have a couple of questions that came just to me. Make sure I'm looking through the right place in my glasses here. How can I set my dogs up for success when boarding them for the first time, especially the older dog?
Great question. That is a really good concern. Again, like you said, older dogs, if they're not used to it, is something to think about. So again, finding the boarding facility that's correct for them. Whether it be that daycare where they get to play during the day, or if they would be happier in a kennel, kind of more separate during most of the day. So, practicing leaving them at home for periods of time, whether it be in a kennel or, it sounds funny, but leaving them at home and maybe with some dogs barking, playing, that, if they're used to really quiet, kennels will have some sound with it. So getting them used to that. And again, maybe doing like an anti-anxiety chew or supplement, as well as if it's going to be for an extended period of time, maybe trial out one night at where they're going to be staying, see how that one night goes. And then you might feel more comfortable with them staying for several nights. But that's really kind of the best thing. Sometimes we'll have clients to bring in, a treat or a toy or, a pillow or something that has their scent on it that also can be comforting.
They're familiar with. That's really good advice. Thank you. Guys, I think this next one might be for you. What is the shelf life on your treats? I'd like to buy some and stock up.
Absolutely, good question. So since we don't put preservatives in our treats, and obviously when we did the advent calendars, we had to put a little bit of a mold inhibitor in them just so that they weren't molding in the boxes on people's hearts. So yeah, we encourage our customers as they buy the dog treats to refrigerate them or freeze them. Especially in the summer, it's great to freeze them because as the dog comes in from outside, you can give them a frozen treat. Win-win for the dog. They last about a month in the fridge or the freezer, freezer months. So yeah, we definitely encourage you to refrigerate them so that you can moderate them as well. So you don't want to give them all the treats on the same day, right, Dr. Moline?
That's awesome. Thanks. This one, I'll let you decide who answers this. I see Lucky Larry's makes chews. Is it true that many regular chews are not safe? I
will let Dr. Moline answer that.
Okay. I think chews are great. It's a good distraction for your pet. The thing that, just like Dave mentioned, moderation is always good. You know, we don't want to give 2 or 3 a day because we can have some stomach problems, but you know, every once in a while, nothing wrong with that. The thing to really think about is the size of the chew and the size of your pet. So you don't want to leave your really big dog with a pretty small chew home alone, you know, something they could choke on or something like that. So I always watch my dogs whenever I give them something that they're going to eat down to a small piece. But I think that chews are great. I say it gives them an extra treat, some distraction, and I think that's good. But again, everything in moderation.
Perfect.
And our chews are a mixture of whole wheat flour, pumpkin puree, and banana puree, and that's the end of the list. So it's a nice little healthy treat for them as well. It doesn't take them too long to chew it up either. Dr. Moline, rawhide, what's your take on that?
So we definitely hear some negative things about rawhide. I would tell you some dogs have eaten them for years and never had issues, but they're definitely a more processed treat, not one of my more favorite things. And that is a big thing that you'll see Christmas time, these big giant rawhide bones that are in the shape of a candy cane. Definitely look more towards something less processed, less ingredients. So just like what your chew is, that's wonderful.
Great. Well, thank you so much to our presenters. You were all wonderful. Thanks to Nikki for introducing them. Nikki, you did a great job. And thanks for all of you for giving up your Tuesday afternoon, presenters and guests and attendees alike, for joining us. This is sadly the end of Happier Holidays, but we'll be back in January. So keep an eye out for us for Tune Up Tuesdays. And if you want to learn more about pets, if you want to learn ways to spoil your pets, ways to get involved, UBT has a pet club for our customers who love pets and the pets they love. And if you're interested in learning more about that and our special events and special offers, the easiest way to do that might be to contact me. So if you go to ubt.com/personal/journey, and down at the bottom of that journey page is my contact info. Let me know, and I will hook you up with the Pet Club, as well as with our presenters if you had any questions for them. Thanks so much again. I wish a happy, happy holidays to all of you. Be well till we meet again. Thanks. Bye-bye.